Whenever you fly, you need to plan out not only where you will go, but how high as well at each waypoint. Unfortunately, the altitude hold is not, and never will, be designed to make sure you reach your target altitude when you reach the waypoint. Therefore, pilots must calculate the vertical speed required to reach the target altitude at the next waypoint using the following formula. However, this calculation must be executed repeatedly due to the fact that ground speed changes with altitude. This will make most pilots tiresome and result in a loss of situational awareness. This is just no good. But what if a computer could run this task for us, and faster? Why not have a computer run the calculation 1,000 times a second and set the plane to fly at vertical speed? But what plane would have such a computer? Sounds like this is a good time for a Dreamliner tutorial number 4! How to use vertical navigation. That's right, the totally awesome, super sophisticated Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner can make your life much easier when times are tough, thanks to the latest flight automation technology. We're going to do a totally unrealistically short flight from Las Vegas to Los Angeles in order to teach you how to use VNAV and show you its awesomeness. To get started using VNAV, you will need a route. I will load one up that I've previously created and alter it. I'll be taking off from a different runway, so those waypoints aren't good. Notice how I add an altitude next to each waypoint. This isn't necessary if my first waypoint were to climb the cruise altitude, even though that would be impossible. However, the VNAV has a limitation, a cap on it, so it will not attempt ever to exceed the aircraft limitation, so it will never climb at a rate faster than 3,000 feet per minute. Now we note when we begin cruise and when we end cruise. This is going to be a short flight, so the waypoint we begin cruise on is the Hector VOR, and then we end cruise at a Dipso fix only 82 miles away. First, let's activate the route and jump to the first waypoint. Next, we get in the cockpit. We have to do stuff in the CDU. So we go to Index, VNAV config, cruise altitude is flight level 220, but this only accepts in feet, so you have to enter 2,000 feet. Begin cruise at the Hector VOR, and cruise at Dipso. With the beginning cruise and ending cruise and cruise altitude variables put in there, that allows you to have to be able to set up your route for a longer route if you wanted, and not have the cruise altitude repeatedly added next to each waypoint until you end your cruise. Next we go, well, let's keep it there, to the nav screen, and you can look in the VSD. The vertical profile of our route is already in there. Now it's time to get started. Let's wait for the jetway to finish retracting first, and then we'll push back and taxi to the runway. And we're lining up with the runway now. And now to take off. Hit the AP command switch button thing, and then select VNAV and the pitch control. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Now we will climb a max climb rate, 3,000 feet per minute, because we will not reach this waypoint at 7,000 feet. Or we will not be at 7,000 feet when we reach this waypoint, I should say, because it's too close. The next waypoint has the same target altitude, and you can see the VNAVs adjusting the vertical speed to make sure that we reach that target altitude at that waypoint. 1,000 feet to go. Feet left. 4, 3, 2, 1, 7,000. Next target is 8,000. Again, the VNAV is recalculating the required climb rate to make sure we reach 8,000 at the waypoint. Not before it, not after it. 300 feet to go. 3 miles remaining. $200 feet. 2 miles. $100 feet remaining and 1 mile remaining. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 8,000. Next target is 10,000. We need to climb a little faster than we did for that last part. Well, a lot faster actually, as the waypoint is closer. And our ground speed has increased despite constant indicated airspeed because our altitude is increasing. 1,000 feet to go. And 3, 2, 1, 10,000. Next target is 13,000. We we are 13 miles away from the waypoint. 1,000 feet to go, and I forgot to increase my airspeed setting, so let's see what happens. It should reduce the climb rate, or no, it should increase it. Something. Well, it's adjusting it. Okay, I was right the first time. It's decreasing climb rate. 1 mile to go, 200 feet left. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 13,000. Next target is flight level 220. And that waypoint is 77 miles away. And we are down to 500 feet left, even though we are still 47.5 miles after the waypoint. Now, I believe this is because the Hector VOR, which is where we're going right now, is the active waypoint, and it's the start cruise waypoint. So naturally, it would want to go into altitude hold mode. Even though it's still in VNAV, the VNAV has its own altitude hold, so that it will hold altitude at cruise, instead of trying to dive to -9,999 feet, which is the default altitude for every waypoint. So now we are just slowly and gently leveling out to flight level 220. Regardless of the distance left to go. Another thing you should know is that while the VNAV is limited for climb, it has no limit for descent. So you will want to plan your descent very carefully if you're going to use VNAV. In other words, do not, say, be cruising at flight level 410 and then set a waypoint 10 miles away from your end of cruise that's like on the ground or something. That would just be terrible. So yeah, the VNAV will make the plane dive at unsafe speeds if you tell it to. However, that's not quite as dangerous as forcing the plane into a stall and attempting to continue to climb even after a stall has occurred. Which is the reason why the descent isn't limited. We are now very close to top of descent. You know what? We are leaving the top of descent now. Next waypoint. Reduce speed to 280 knots as instructed on the standard terminal arrival procedure chart until after I reach the next waypoint. We are now in a nice gentle descent to the next waypoint. And if you look at the VSD, you'll notice the pink line going from where we are now to the next waypoint, and you cannot see the actual profile of our trajectory. So now you can see a little bit. It is almost completely hidden by the root, the vertical profile. And we're down to 1,000 feet to go. Miles left. One mile to go. 700 feet. 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, whoops! I misread. Sorry. Yeah, I can hardly see the HUD. There we go. Okay, 7.7 miles remaining. And we are descending nice and gently to flight level 180. Five miles to go. 200 feet remaining. 4 miles to go. $100 feet remaining with 2.5 miles to go. Reducing descent rate automatically with 5 miles remaining. And 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. We slight error there. That's okay. And now we are descending to our next target altitude of 14,000, reducing speed to 250 knots. To get from that waypoint to the next waypoint at our current speed requires an extreme descent rate of, if this is correct, 4,000 feet per minute at least. Although I have noticed errors in the HUD before, so it could be 3,000, but I don't really know for sure. 4,000 sounds ridiculous, so it's probably 3,000. $1,000 feet to go, 1.5 miles remaining. 1 mile remaining, 500 feet to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 14,000. The next target is also 14,000. Of course, I kind of overshot a bit, so here we go. It's climb back up to 14,000 very gently, and we're going to hang out around here for now. Next target is 12,000, distance 4.1 miles remaining. And less than 1,000 feet to go. $500 feet remaining. 1 mile remaining. $200 feet and what? Oh, you we weren't going to make it to that waypoint, it looks like, so it switched early. Next target, 1,900, 40 miles away, gentle descent. This should take us onto the glide slope very nicely, and hopefully towards the localizer as well. Well, it will take us towards the localizer, but I'll be intercepting the localizer before I reach the waypoint. This is this waypoint is on the glide slope, so that's nice. Which means VNAV can be used very nicely for localizer and VOR and NDB approaches, all of your non-precision instrument approaches, and you can make it look like a precision approach with the VNAV. At least until you reach minimums, and then you have to level out until you see the runway. But if you're lucky, you'll have the runway in sight before you reach minimums. And localizer is now alive, so I'm going to intercept that. And I'm also going to reduce my speed to approach speed, since we are now below 10,000 and closing in. That's some more variables for the VNAV to deal with. Changing direction, which means the closing distance slows down, and decreasing airspeed with decreasing ground speed combined, which means a faster decrease in ground speed. And the glide slope is alive, so I'm going to intercept that now. And that's it for the VNAV portion of this flight. Our speed is now low, lowering flaps in gear. We are now in landing configuration with, oh man, yet another 3.5 miles or so left to go. This is going to be a while, so I'll cut out the boring stuff and come back later. And it's a nice day today. We got the airport in sight. And we still got 4,800 feet to go, just about. And we are now on short final. thanks for watching Dreamliner tutorial number 4. How to use vertical navigation. Stay tuned for more Dreamliner tutorials. See you later.